you, sir.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you all to this Animas County Board of County Commissioners. This is a regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, April the 7th, 2026. It is now 9 a.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please rise for an invocation by Commissioner Tony Haas, followed by the pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Lucero.
Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you with graceful hearts, acknowledging your unwavering protection. We lift up every family, every soldier into your caring arms. Watch over them with your divine graces, shielding them from harm and guiding them through the paths of safety. Bless our homes and families, friends, and continue to bring them peace, guidance, and protection. In times of uncertainty, remind us you are always everywhere in heaven.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioners. Roll call, Mr. Troika.
Commissioner Hess. Here. Commissioner Sarah. Here. Commissioner Lopez.
Here. Approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda, Mr. Troika?
No changes, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda. Second the motion.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Sarah.
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. And before we go into the next time, I want to make an announcement today, as I do at every meeting. Anyone that wants to address this board under public comment, there is a section in the agenda that you should, if you want to address the board, there is a sign-in sheet up there, and you have all the way up until before we call the public comment section. And also anyone online, if you wish to address the Board of County Commissioners, please do so by putting it on the chat that you intend to use public comment as such. And one of the reminders I want to give anyone that under public comment, we will take the comment. However, the Board of County Commissioners will not be able to respond to any of the questions. We will take the question. We will respond thereafter. But on public comment, that is going to be the procedure and has been since I can remember. So please be reminded online. Please put it on the chat, and those of you here sign up on the sheet back there. So thank you. I'm going to move now to section 2, a consideration of minutes. Commissioners, we have the regular meeting minutes for March 17, 2026. We have had those, read them. Are there any revisions, deletions, and or corrections? No. Hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion.
Move to approve the regular meeting minutes of March 17, 2026.
I'll second.
Commissioner Sarah.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. 2B, special meeting minutes of March 31st, 2026. Same protocol, Commissioners. Any additions, deletions? And no dialogue. Thank you, sir. I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve special meeting minutes of March 31st, 2026.
Second the motion.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Sarah.
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. We're going to go to section 3, a reading of correspondence, Commissioner Committee reports. Commissioner Lucero.
Okay, on the 24th of March, I attended the Los Angeles County Multi-Agency Coordination Group meeting presented by the County Emergency Manager, Aaron Kolakowski. The group will provide policy guidance and direction to support incident management, prioritize and allocate critical resources, and support coordination decisions among elected and appointed officials and those managing incidents. And there'll be several entities involved in this. Will be schools, all the fire districts, San Isabel. We had a pretty good turnout for this last meeting. It's going to be a monthly meeting. So our next one, I think, is 24th? 28th of April. Also on the 26th and 27th, sat in on steering committee meetings. They were pretty short agendas. Not a whole lot of new stuff was coming up, but we do have some that is going through the process right now. One of them, I think Jody Amato had kind of discussed this with us, House Bill 261119, which would allow local governments to hire mill levy rates for land venues, improvement value for most property within their districts. The Assessor Association is adamant against this. It would, basically, they have to revamp their program in order to do this. So I'm not sure when it was going to the committee. Was it yesterday? So I'm not sure where that one is at.
In a couple of days.
Also on House Bill 261340, the process for revegetation on transition to dry land farming in water division. That's on the agenda. The bill has been introduced, but has not yet been scheduled for a committee hearing. This affects a lot of the eastern end of the county. It could at some point affect our county because of the way they take the water up north, and it dries up a lot of the lands and basically becomes a dust bowl and creates problems. So, and on the same on the 26th of March, I got a call. I went up I met with the Aguilar foreman. He wanted me to come up and take a look at, go with him and take a look at the county roads and what they've been doing out there around the Aguilar area. They have done a lot of work on the shoulders of the road. A lot of it had been ignored for several years. When it rains or snows, that water would come off and come over the blacktop road there. So what they've done is they cut that down, cut it back, made car ditches, trimmed up a lot of trees, done a lot of work in, I think on the Ludlow road too, also with culverts and cleaning up trees. So I spent the afternoon with them, and it was nice to see a lot of what they're doing out there. So I think with that, that's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucero. Commissioner Hess.
On the 20th, I attended the Renewable Energy Working Group with Chris Mingus, Interwest, and also were there. The primary discussion was about renewable energy and they'll be coming forward with renewable storage bill next year. And Chris said he doesn't believe that there's a need for a renewable side of bill this year, but that will be next year. Of course, the governor's pushing it. The governor's office from the Western Resource Advocates and Conservation Colorado and the Nature Conservancy all want this to happen this year, but it's going to be postponed. We had a legislative briefing on the 20th of March, and Commissioner Lucero talked about some of them. The others that would have a direct impact on Los Angeles County that I thought would have a direct impact was HB 26-1276. This was protecting the safety of immigrants bill for airports owned by a county. And what this would do would effectively keep the county from complying with federal people that come in to haul off if there's illegal immigrants that are here and been identified and going to be hauled off, and we keep them from keep our county airport from entertaining them. Another one was PI'd, and this was HB 1270, the agriculture data ownership and market competition tax. This bill would have protected confidential data generated by modern ranching and farming methods like yield monitors and health metrics. And it was PI. Senate Bill 129, this bill's intent was to mitigate impacts of TIF. And this bill was an unfunded mandate to counties and requiring costly and unnecessary red tape for rural and urban projects. And that was a good one that got PI. I mean, it was good that it did get PI. On the 23rd, I attended the NACO Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee, and primary topic was farm assistance payments. There's a rolling $12 million farm bridge farmer grant, they call it, and it's due April 17th, and it's just a farm bridge assistance grant. 26.8 million is allocated for that. They talk some about the screwworm and how close it is to our southern border, and they are using topical spray now, much like ivermectin, to mitigate the tick getting on to the animals, the screwworm getting on to the animals. And they talked about USDA rural updates. Corn down $50 a bushel since 2020, and that's the lowest it's been since the 30s now. I don't know how our farmers are doing it. And we lost 175,000 farms in the nation last year. On the 23rd, I also attended the United Wolf Coalition, talking about the Federal Register and the translocation of wolves in Colorado. The MOAs are frozen at this point, and there are 2 new appointments coming up for this, for the Wildlife Commission, and it'd be nice to get some ag-friendly commissioners on there. And we'll see if we can have any progress in that department. On the 23rd, Colorado Department of Ag and Colorado counties had their monthly meeting. They talked about there's a new tick disease. Besides the screwworm, now we have a new tick disease. It's called the Asian longhorn tick. And it's hitting the southern states really hard, so on the other side of the Mississippi. Kate, our Commissioner of Ag, is supposed to be back, Kate Greenberg, she's supposed to be back by the 6th of April. And we talked some more about this tick infestation, and dipping bats are kind of a thing of the past, but I think they'll probably be coming back if that screwworm and this tick, we can't get them under control. I think we'll see more use of dipping bats and spray tunnels, they call it. And one of my comments to the Commissioner Sakata was, what if we were to put ivermectin pellets in a corn feeder? Because I'm worried about the herbivores like elk and deer and the hogs even in the wildlife bringing the tick and the screwworm across the state line. And he said he would take that to his uppers and maybe they could make something happen. On the 1st of April, I had the opportunity to, oh wait a minute, on the 30th of March, CHP, the Colorado County's health plan, I'm on that board. We did meet, I think I sent you the printout. The primary discussion was our quarterly financial update. CHP received a clean financial audit with no corrections or arguments. CHP represents 20 counties and 26 other entities now. And law enforcement is the primary force of driving the liabilities along with catchers number 2. And CTSI, their last day at 800 grant is the 6th of April. Then on the 1st of April, I had the opportunity to attend, I was asked to attend an ag roundtable in Lamar at the Colorado Cow Palace. And primary topic there was just trying to protect ranching, and there's a few of us in this room that remember the Pinion Canyon days, and it resembled the Pinion Canyon meeting. There were 100 people in the audience, and their primary concern was this next era energy transmission line that's going in eminent domain that they'll be using. It's a 5 to 15 mile wide corridor from the southern corner, just on the outside of Los Animas County, so the southeast corner of Los Animas County extends from New Mexico into Baca County and then all the way up toward Colby, Kansas. And it's going to be a huge takings. This is a land grab. And the primary conversation was, how do we get in front of this? And as you guys know, it's better to be in front of that 8 ball than behind it. And I gave them some suggestions, and the challenges that ranchers face with projects like the NEIM, referring to the next era energy transmission and NIETC corridor and Excel's Colorado Power Pathway, involves local, state, and federal government entities. And Poulos is pushing awful hard to make this happen. He wants to reach energy superabundance, and that's one of his legacies that he wants to leave behind on moving forward. I told him about some permanent denial strategy and what El Paso and Elbert County did to kind of slow that process up. I also told him that there were some legislative deterrents that they could use also. And HB 261210 and Senate Bill 26077 have yet to be introduced, but they would help them if we could get that through, get those through. Chris Richardson had a bill that would have been extremely helpful, but it died in committee and just last week. And that's my report, sir.
Thank you, sir. Not belaboring the point of what commissioners both have addressed, a couple of add-ons on House Bill 261340, the revegetation bill. There is a great opportunity for counties to come together, and you can take a look at that if you go to the General Assembly, State of Colorado General Assembly, and see where the bill is at. We were able to submit a recommendation from Colorado counties to the governor's office, to the sponsors of the bill, basically 100% unanimous decision that it is a good thing. When somebody wants to sell the water to a Metroplex community, that's okay. But there has to be a plan, because if you buy and dry that piece of property, there could be, with the drought that we're experiencing and all the challenges that the ecosystem is going through, that we can create, those fields will become pretty much desert places. And it would be blowing dirt and dust to their next door neighbors. And from that perspective, we had a very good discussion at CCI. And the support, initially, it's only for the counties that are impacted right now, the Arkansas Valley. District 2. And so what happened at the end of the conversation that we had, every county, including Northeast, West, we all came behind that, and all of us want to implement something to that perspective. The bill simply addresses the current urgency that we have in District 2 on the Arkansas Valley. However, I believe that this is going to grow some legs in the next legislative session, and we'll come back and creating that re-veg program and process for the rest of the counties. The other one that I wanted to extrapolate on, I was invited by Commissioner Haas to attend the meeting in Lamar. So we went to the meeting, and by the way, Commissioner, very great talking points and recommendations. So I sat in the audience, but it was so imperatively important to hear what the proposed legislation that came out of Washington in 2023, basically to create this corridor of transmission property. Right now, New Mexico is in the middle of litigating a part of the process, because when you think of one of the things, and we'll be talking about this forever, Los Animas County Board of Commissioners has taken a position that will never support eminent domain and/or condemnation. And that is one of the things that they did. We did this early on, not only through resolution, but simply by continuing to remind that eminent domain has to have two things: a willing seller with the accurate cost of replacement and or market value. And if that the county government needs to, or any kind of government, step aside and let that transaction take place if there is a willing seller and a buyer. That is something that we're never going to be interfering with. But on this particular one, in some of the areas, as Commissioner Tony has, imagine a corridor going through New Mexico into Colorado and also parts of Oklahoma and into Kansas. This corridor that would be condemning up to 15 miles. That is a big chunk of land. And for a lot of the farmers and ranchers, that could mean their entire property could be on that corridor. So this is what the New Mexico group is doing. They invited Colorado to do that. And I can tell you this is gaining a lot of momentum that possibly there could be a bit of a deterrence. So we'll see what happens with that. One of the things that I want all of us, you and I, to keep track on what's happening on the Long Bill. The Long Bill, the Joint Budget Committee right now is working through the Long Bill and the appropriations. The state of Colorado had a deficit in 2024, had a deficit in 2025, and is forecasting a huge deficit in 2026. Overall, the deficits between those 3 years are approaching $3 billion. We don't know what's going to happen in 2027. So for that, if you go to the General Assembly, have an opportunity to make a comment, testify on the bill. Thus far, we have over 600 bills that have been introduced, both from the Senate and the House. And some of them are postponed indefinitely, the PI the Commissioner has mentioning of. But if you have an opportunity, you are passionate about something, go in there and provide testimony. It is pretty easy. They made it where you can do it from your house, via Zoom. Just click on the link and then you can go give your comments. So we don't know what's going to happen. One of the things that we are pushing so hard at the county level is that we can no longer sustain any more unfunded mandates. They're coming from the state legislature, they're coming from the gold loan, and counties are beginning to say, wait a minute, we don't have the money to do those services. We need to find a way and figure out a way to go through the process. One of the good news that we have, after we basically sent a letter and a resolution to powers to be on the implementation of the Wildfire Resiliency Code. Now, it is importantly pertinent to mention that the governor appropriated slightly over $8 million for counties that basically said, Governor, sorry, we just can't continue to do this, and there is going to be, by way of grants, hopefully Los Animas County was listed as one of the counties that is going to be receiving some of those dollars, which is really good, because at the end of the day, we cannot go back to our constituents and say, well, wait a minute, we're going to be increasing your taxes, we're going to be doing this ABCD. What the senior homestead exemption program right now is in danger simply because of the mismanagement of dollars that are coming out of the gold dome, and certainly that is one of the that's one of the challenges that's on the chopping block. And senior homestead exemption has been there for quite a long time. One of the things that, of course, the funding of some of the programs are coming from other resources that soon could be drying up. So there was 24 counties in Colorado that were eligible for a piece of the $8.5 million for the wildfire mitigation program. And so this project and supports for our fire districts, for our emergency manager, are going to be tremendous importance. They may have a match, but nonetheless, they're going to be more than what we have now, which is basically zero. The grants, the total grant with the local match is going to exceed slightly over $17 million. And so the management of these dollars are going to be coming through the Colorado State Forest Service. The important thing that as we get ready, thank you, Commissioner Harris, as we get ready to enter into the heavy of the legislative session, more bills are going to start dropping and less time to debate it. So that is just simply, we call those the midnight bills that sometimes show up late at night and they get passed through and they'll go sign into law. So when you think of this, 600 bills, maybe 700 by the end of the session, it is challenging for anybody, local municipality and or county government to keep track of what we're supposed to do with this one, what's going to happen with that one. So, and I just want to say thank you to the staff that we have here at Animas County, very diligent, very always looking forward to what are the challenges that we have to implement what is impacting. And I'll close with this. I had an opportunity as I am your Colorado representative on the Executive Board of Directors at the National Association of Counties. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago in which we talked about what are the challenges that your state and or your county are facing right now. And most of the common denominator was fiscal challenges. And so we have a lot of the states that are forecasting deficits. And this is not just unique to Colorado, it is happening pretty much through very many states. And so the challenges, the fiscal challenges, and one of my comments back to the national group is obviously we'll continue to do at the county level what we can to protect state government from passing any taxation without the vote of the people at the local level. And that is, because that's constitutional. So we have, once again, the invitation is go to Colorado General Assembly and you'll see, you can take a look at all the bills that are coming in there, how many have been introduced by the House, how many by the Senate, how many have been postponed indefinitely, and what are the challenges, how many have been laid over. And so very interesting process. And commissioners, that's going to be my report. We're going to move on to the next section. I want to call on any elected officials, if we have any updates from any elected officials. I want to call on the Los Animas County Assessor, Los Animas County Clerk and Recorder, Los Animas County Treasurer, Los Animas County Sheriff,
Nothing yet.
Los Animas County District Attorney, and Los Animas County Coroner. Hearing that, we're going to go to the next section, which is going to be presentations. We have 3 presentations today, and by the way, the clarification is on a presentation. We usually allocate 20 minutes for this type of presentation, and Mr. Dorenkamp will keep the time, but one of the things, this is a conversation with the Board of County Commissioners. Under a presentation, we will engage, we'll ask questions, but we welcome the presentations to be open, and we appreciate the opportunity to visit with all of you. So at this time, I'm going to call on Mr. Charlie Davis, Crossroads Turning Point Chief Executive Officer. And Charlie, thank you so much. I know you have reached out to me and wanted to have a meeting with me, but I believe the proper protocol would be to meet with the 3 of us and with our community, so we'll see exactly what's happening from your corner in the world that is so imperative and important to our community. So welcome, and great to see you, Charlie.
Thank you, Commissioner Lopez. I really appreciate your time and the other commissioners' time. I just wanted to update the county commissioners. We've got a lot of changes going on in the BHA or the behavioral health world in Colorado. We operate a withdrawal management and outpatient location there in Trinidad. And the changes that are happening are going to have some serious impacts to the community. And I wanted to get ahead of it so that you all are not caught off guard, and hopefully work together to see if we can come up with some solutions for the community. Just to give you a brief outline, we employ about 17 individuals there in the city of Trinidad. We run a 10-bed withdrawal management. And so, I don't know if I can share my screen, if that's a possibility.
Yes, we're granting that permission as we speak.
Fantastic. I've got a very brief presentation, but I thought it would be helpful to see some of the things that are happening here. Let's see, it's still showing disabled.
Yeah, give me a minute here. Zoom has changed
Okay.
their format. I think it's going to take me a minute to figure out.
I can appreciate that.
And Chuck, as you're getting ready, Charlie, as you're getting ready to present on that, just kind of an FYI, I sit on the board for the BASOS, and also we have been speaking with the BHA to communicate and stop the duplicity of programs and work with the local providers that already have capacity, and of course, you are the subject matter expert in the field, so I'm hoping that the contact and communication between the BASOS, between even the opioid boards and the BHA would be extending that olive leaf to your organization.
Absolutely. I work closely with both of the BASOs. For those of you that don't know, the BASOs are Behavioral Health Administrative Service Organizations. There's currently 2 in the state, and I've got a map I'll show you here in a minute of how they redefine those areas. But yes, you are correct, Commissioner. There's a lot of changes going on, and hopefully, like I said, we can have some good outcomes from the changes. See here, there we go. Let's see if that shows up.
Yes, we are. We can see your.
Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll make this very brief, but basically what has happened, we had a behavioral health task force that was created, I believe, in 19. They reimagined how behavioral health services are in the state. They came out with some recommendations. They also created what's now known as the Behavioral Health Administration. It used to be called the Office of Behavioral Health. Let's see if I can control. So here, so as I mentioned, they started this in 19. They created the Behavioral Health Administration in 2022. Then they started aligning the BHA and HCPF, which is Healthcare Policy and Finance, who manages Medicaid, and they put them under the same map. And so they redefined both the behavioral health side and the Medicaid side. And then they were supposed to start the BHASOs in July of 25. They delayed, 24, but then they delayed it for a year, and they ended up being on the same track as the next iteration of Medicaid, which was considered ACC, or Accountable Care Collaborative, phase 3. So they both started this past July, I guess is the bottom line. And so our system, this is the maps. The one on the left is what we were previously under. So we were in Region 4, serving 15 counties. And now on the right side, you see here, they redefined the map, and now the southern I-25 corridor is now part of the western slope, I guess, for lack of a better term. They combined all of these regions 4, 5, and 6 on the left side here. They actually cut region 4 in half, so you can see the Arkansas Valley and Waukesha County went with region 2 now. I know that's a lot to take in, but it kind of gives you an idea of the BHASOs. By the way, the BHASO in our region, the blue region now, is the Rocky Mountain Behavioral Health. And then there's also Signal that operates the regions 2, 3, and 4. But we are in the blue region under Rocky Mountain Health. So with that, they redefined how behavioral health would be managed in Colorado, and they adopted this Association of Addiction Medicine criteria as their kind of blueprint. We've been operating loosely under the 3rd edition that the BHA had outlined their system with, But when they combine both, they've now moved to the 4th edition, and this is what's causing a lot of the issues for us, if you will. Basically, in the 4th edition, they removed all withdrawal management for what we know as detox services. So as of July of 26, there will no longer be detox programs in Colorado or withdrawal management programs. Over the past year and a half, we've heard several iterations of what could replace them or how it could be fixed. They first started out saying residential programs would pick up the mantle of offering detox services. They've since moved into a crisis modality where they said crisis systems could pick it up. Then they went to a system where they said maybe all the above. It could be a crisis service, it could be a residential service. They've also came up with what they call a behavioral health crisis center, which is a new programming that's not, I haven't found one in Colorado yet. I think there's a couple trying to stand them up right now. But they're still making the rules, and I guess that's part of the problem we're seeing is that the rules have not been finalized. So we continue to watch and meet basically weekly with different groups. And so here's a quick outline of how it happened. And the stakeholdering finished up this past month in March. Now they are into writing revisions of the rules for the next couple of months, and then it will go into a legal review this summer. They're going to release the new rules by January of 2027, and then in 6 months they want the new system stood up by July 1st of next year. And again, I realize this is a lot. I'd be happy, Commissioner, to send you this PowerPoint so you guys can digest a little bit more in detail, but I want to make sure to cover it all for you now. These are the basically 3 options or 2 major options. They said crisis. Any of these could offer detox type services, or the residentials could offer these types of services. Currently, there isn't any 3.5 or 3.7 residentials in Los Animas County, to my knowledge, and that's one of the kind of gaps in their processing, which was that they were really focused on some of the more urban areas that have a lot of services. We unfortunately don't have the luxury of having that in Los Animas County. So the other option that we have as Crossroads is if we can't do one of the crisis services, which are right now, everything we're reading in the rules, we can't comply with. We don't have the workforce, nor they haven't released any kind of funding mechanisms that would show that they're viable. But again, they're still writing the rules. So the other option is to create like a 3.1 residential or a specialty residential to continue to utilize our location there. Though these are still met with, as you mentioned in your previous comments about the state budget, the likelihood of trying to get new funding for something like that is probably unlikely, though there might be some options for us to retool some of the existing funding to make that happen. And then the other option is that we eliminate the residential services in Trinidad and just move to an outpatient only type service there in Trinidad. I don't think that's the best thing for Trinidad, so we're really trying to make that the last option, or if we have no other way to move forward, that might be our own choice. So as I mentioned, the rules are still in progress. They're still changing them. We go to meetings every week and we hear different things and new things. And also, Commissioner, you're probably aware of some of the vulnerability of the DHA system and HIPAA, who both got new leaders in this past week. The commissioner that had been with the DHA for the past few years retired, and then the leader of HIPAA, which runs Medicaid, stepped down last week, and so a lot of the systems are changing as they say, we're trying to build the plane while we fly it. And it doesn't work very well, but I think with our long-standing background, we're going to be okay. We just got to figure out how to be flexible and adapt to whatever the end of this legislative session rolls out. I will tell you that there is a lot of cuts coming in behavioral health. If you've seen any of those, we've already sustained a few serious cuts. But I'm hearing, in fact, I was in a meeting just before this meeting, and they're talking about redoing some of the long bill again, which we could incur more cuts. So we're not out of the woods yet. So with that, I will stop sharing my screen. I know that's a ton of information for you folks, but I wanted to make sure you were aware of what was coming. Because it doesn't seem like there's a viable option, even though we're still trying to get them to change course on this withdrawal management decision. It seems like it came out of the East Coast where they have, very condensed systems where they have residentials every 20 or 30 miles. Kind of makes sense for the East Coast, but it really doesn't work in the Midwest and the West where we are so spread out and we don't have those options like they do back east. But with that, I will entertain any questions or just, like I said, just wanted to get in front of you and kind of let you know what was happening and let you know that we are working on solutions. Our first objective is to maintain our workforce there in Trinidad as well as services as we find sustainable.
Well, thank you, Charlie, for joining this conversation this morning. I do have a couple of questions here. When we look at the appropriation of a HICPAF, at least on the last decade, their appropriations grew by 360% plus. That is actual dollars that they had in their hand. And when I look at the number of individuals served, the math does not add up. Yet, out of that comes the dollars for the BHA, and now with the new regulations that you're mentioning to us, what are communities such as Trinidad and Los Animas County to do with somebody that needs the full detoxification service before being transferred to a detention facility?
That's the real conundrum we're in. I've been with Crossroads since 1991. Trinidad, we've had the luxury of operating in your communities my whole entire career, the last 35 years. And they were really designed when I got into the field to alleviate the pressures of your hospital EDs, your law enforcement jails, because people were going to those locations, quite frankly, inappropriately. They weren't getting the services they needed, and that's really where the birth of the detox system came. And it served its purpose for a very long time and helped save individuals and let them recover in a safe environment with qualified staff that knew how to take care of them. And it also removed them from the EDs or emergency rooms and the jails where they couldn't get the monitoring that was needed for their detoxification. So that's the real conundrum right now is we're hoping we're not seeing a full circle of back to where we were in the 70s and 80s when people were not getting care and used that type of situation. And it's going to put a lot of stress on the hospitals and the jails, I'll be honest. That we don't see this as a good option, but we didn't have a say in it.
Another question regarding related to the new appointees, regardless of whom they are, both for the BHA and the HICPAF, they have a huge mess to clean up. Have you, as the provider, Charlie, have had an opportunity to talk with them? I know they're mandated by statute to meet all the past legislation. I'm just reading here, this is what I heard. Colorado in the last 7-8 years has grown close to 60% when it comes to the passage of legislation. And that's what I'm actually saying. The legislative growth, Colorado is one of the highest states that has passed more bills than any other state in the union by percentage-wise. And this is creating complexities and challenges for those that operate within those states. So I haven't had an opportunity to meet with either one of the two. I quite frankly don't even know who they are, but I'm hoping that they would be willing to meet with counties and municipalities and service providers like yourself to see what is the plan going forward, because, you know, at the end of the day, the decision is made at the Gold Dome, and you have to be the one that has to run with the ball, and you don't, that's not even, it is kind of unfair to communities, and I don't want to put our sheriff on the spot, but, you know, for detention facilities, it's going to be a challenge to provide those services, and then now we have health of individuals that, in your part, that's exactly, you are the subject matter expert on that field.
Yeah, and to go back to your comments about Medicaid, Medicaid was not in my world until about 2015 when they opened the benefit for behavioral health. They didn't, and then in 2021 they actually added the residential benefit, which again I think has been part of the explosion of Medicaid's expenses, even though behavioral health is still a relatively small portion of the overall Medicaid funding. But it has had a big impact in our world. It has replaced a lot of the indigent funding that we used to receive from back in the day, which was OBH, and then and so some of those pieces, I think, are, and the task force was supposed to bring it all under one umbrella, the behavioral health system, because we had so many different behavioral health lines going into several different departments, and nobody was managing any of them collectively, so everybody was doing their own thing. The task force was supposed to bring it under one tent, if you will. However, that didn't happen, and that's why we have a bifurcated system where we have Medicaid under one department, Healthcare Policy and Finance, and we have the BHA under the Division of Human Services. And so for several years, these two departments didn't even talk. So they've gotten better at talking. That's starting to improve, but it's still not integrated, I guess is the way to say it, and we're hoping to fix some of that. As to your question, have I met either commissioner? No. They just were announced last week. I don't know either one of them. I knew that the lady that's taking over the BHA 15 years ago, but even then I had very little contact or communication with her. So I'm, like you, looking forward to meeting both of these individuals and hopefully getting some input on where we can go from here.
Thank you, Charlie. Commissioners?
No questions.
No questions. You know what, just FYI for the audience, I think it's imperative and important that you all know that Colorado counties asked the governor to combine HICPUF and DHS, and that didn't go too well. We have Commissioner Haas is actually sitting at a statewide board where the conversations were had, and but I think it would be great, the combination of those two, because it makes sense. So the communication would come out to all constituents. Charlie, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. We're right on the mark, and so certainly please stay connected, and any information that you may find, don't hesitate, and we look forward to having your slides.
And I wanted to give just a quick shout out. We really appreciate the support we've received in Trinidad from the county, and so we can't thank you enough. We wouldn't be there if you guys wouldn't continue to help us. So thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. That thank you goes to our taxpayers. So thank you so much, and you have a great day.
Thank you.
I'm going to call now on Los Animas County Sheriff Navarrete. He's going to be talking to us about Stage 2 fire restrictions.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, sir.
So on March 20th, I consulted with fire chiefs in the districts and the county as well as the city of Trinidad. They discussed their concerns regarding the current extreme fire dangers and ongoing drought conditions that we're experiencing. They were all in agreement, and they firmly recommended that the county move from stage 1 to stage 2. Based on those collective recommendations, I made an emergent decision at the time to change that as in my capacity as the fire marshal. The change was communicated to the public through official press releases to ensure community awareness and compliance. But at this time, I'd like to formally request that the board adopt a resolution to enact stage 2 for the foreseeable future. And in addition to that, I would ask that the board consider some revisions to the current fire ordinance to incorporate additional restrictions and updated definitions that reflect current conditions and the best practices for fire protection and public safety. I've asked Emergency Manager Orkowski to address some issues and some more information as to why this decision was with me.
Thank you, Sheriff. As far as the fire ordinances, I know the fire chiefs and the meetings that go on a very regular basis, and now with communication with our emergency manager, which, by the way, a big shout out to you, sir, for bringing all the communities together, the city, all the entities, the special districts, so we are all on the same page. That's a great step forward. So the fire, I guess I have a question for Mr. Dornkamp. When it comes to the fire ordinance, or for you, Sheriff, will you be, as far as the update of those fire ordinances, will you be making the recommendations?
Yes, I've been working with Fire Chief John Jenkins. There are some changes that he would like to propose, so we could get all that
Very
set
good.
up and sent
Very
to
good.
us.
Please forward that to us, and I don't know, I'm gonna use somebody else's mind and through our legal counsel to make sure that we have the review process as we get ready to publish that document.
I'd like to ask the emergency manager to address the...
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Mr. Kalkowski.
Morning, sir. Just to give you guys an update, kind of where we're coming from as far as the fire chiefs and the emergency manager. As of the middle of March, we had over 23 red flag warning days, just in that small amount of time. Yesterday, I received an update from the state. There are various levels, so there's PL1 through PL5. PL5 being the highest, and meaning that there's no resources available. As of yesterday, the Rocky Mountain region, which we sit in, is at preparedness level 1. The nation's at 2. And DFPC, which is Department of Fire Prevention and Control, at 3. We're seeing historic fuel or energy release components, which basically means how hot the fuel burns. We're seeing those at historic records for our area, Southeast Plains. And we can expect fires that do pop to move up to 2 to 5 miles per hour, which is extremely fast. And that's kind of what happened in Nebraska. After seeing what was unfolding as far as conditions and things like that last weekend or the week before, whenever we had this conversation, that's kind of what prompted to make the suggestion to the sheriff.
Thank you. Mr. Dornkamp, any questions?
No questions.
Sir, both of you, gentlemen, thank you so much for bringing that up to our attention. And yes, Sheriff, you as the fire marshal, thank you for taking early action, and certainly will communicate and disseminate that document to all. Commissioners, any questions for either of these presenters? Thank you, both of you. Thank you, sir. We have another presentation today by Mr. Doug Holdred, Indian Canyon Maneuver Site. Mr. Holdred, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. First of all, I just want to express my appreciation to you, commissioners, because you're the guardians and protectors of our land and the people that live on the land, and I'm here to support your efforts.
Thank
you. You know, everybody pretty much agrees, I think, that the things aren't normal. That we're living in an unusually dry situation. All through the winter, people were, myself included, were enjoying the beautiful springtime weather. but we were missing the abundant snow that takes care of us, and the snowpack that sustains us through the summer months. And we have another unusual situation, and that is a very different and intensified kind of training at Pinyon Canyon. They call it Ivy Mass, and they refer to it as a proof of concept. This is a transformation of how Pinyon Canyon is used by the Army. It's being converted into the Army's new multi-domain task force doctrine, which is a very different kind of concept than the maneuver training that was originally the purpose of Pinyon Canyon. The Ivy Mass exercise that's scheduled for May is a very large-scale joint force exercise. It's a multi-force thing involving the Air Force, Space Force, Marines. So it's a joint force exercise. 5,000 troops, 300 track vehicles, 400 wheeled vehicles, jets, helicopters, autonomous weapons, high altitude balloons. It's a big exercise that will run for 10 days and perhaps extending to 14 days. So it's an entirely different thing. It's an unusual convergence of two unusual factors: the current drought conditions and a very intensified use of live fire at the ranges at Pinyon Canyon. When I feel overwhelmed and disoriented by unusual circumstances, one of the things that helps me is to look at the big picture. For me, that means looking at the grand vistas of the beautiful environment that we live in, where you can, from Pinyon Canyon on top of the hogback, you can see the entire western profile of the horizon. And that big picture sometimes helps. It also helps me to look at the big picture of the whole course of human civilization. Sometimes we get real narrowly focused on our very narrow immediate issues and forget to see the big picture. And I also take refuge in perennial cycles of nature, that regardless of our human interferences with nature, certain things just keep on happening. On March 20th, I had the privilege of observing the equinox from the location on top of the hogback at Pinyon Canyon. From the perspective of an ancient astronomical observatory that's located atop that place, which has been recognized as eligible for inclusion on the National Register of Historic Places within Pinyon Canyon. What I saw was the sun, the giver of life, on the equinox, setting between the two peaks that watch by as the breasts of the earth. It was a symbolic thing for me of a new beginning and of something that is perennial. People for 10,000 years that lived on that land that we call Pinyon Canyon observed the same thing, probably more often and more carefully than we do today. We tend to sometimes forget our connection with nature and go about our business as if nature is just a resource to be harvested. But we have 10,000 years of history, and seeing that equinox event caused me to feel my deep identity, not just with my short period of time in Los Animas County, the County of Souls, on the River of Souls, but with all of the souls that have lived their lives in that place that we call Pinyon Canyon. I thought about the Episcopal culture that precedes recorded history, and about the artifacts that are scattered on the surface of the land out there, and etched into the rock face of the canyons, and the pot shards that still can be found out there that are evidence of these people who lived on that land thousands of years ago. And I thought about the Spaniards who came up from Mexico and followed the course of the River of Souls, and who probably looked at the horizon and watched where the sun was setting on that horizon to sort of compute the process of their entrada. I thought about the historical tribes. First of all, the Jicarilla, who were probably the earliest historical tribe that called Pinyon Canyon their home, followed by a procession of native cultures, the Ute, the Cheyenne, the Arapaho, the Comanche, and the Kiowa. All of these native tribes, nations, if you will, left evidence of their presence out on Pinyon Canyon. And then I thought about the travelers on the Santa Fe Trail who passed through that same country, and the Hispanic shepherds, and the Irish cattlemen, and the homesteaders who carved out a life on the land. All of them are part of this pilgrimage of human souls in the County of Souls that you have agreed to try to take care of and to protect. In 1983, the United States Army became part of that procession of souls that have passed through that piece of land that we call Pinyon Canyon. At the time, the Army promised that there would never be live fire activity at Pinyon Canyon. But that promise went by the wayside in 2004. The Army has documented 6,000 archaeological sites on Pinyon Canyon. They're legally required, before they do something like Ivy Mass, to report to the State Historical Preservation Office what kind of possible damage is anticipated for the cultural assets on Pinyon Canyon. And in their report that was issued in January, they identified 12 archaeological sites that may be adversely affected by Ivy Mass. These 12 sites are eligible to be registered as National Historic Sites, or National Register of Historic Places. In their own document, the Army acknowledges, and I quote, "Avoidance and minimization of these effects is not feasible." In other words, they're doing their due diligence. They're required to give the historical community a heads up to forewarn them of what kinds of harm they expect to be possible. And but they also say that they don't anticipate being able to avoid that damage. So that's why I'm asking you to consider issuing a joint statement with the Otero County Commissioners that would urge the garrison commander at Pinyon Canyon to postpone any live fire maneuvers until such time as the National Fire Danger Rating System has lowered the danger level to low. Of course, you know, fire doesn't respect fence lines, and when I was out there just 2 weeks ago, like every place else that you look at lately, it looks very, very dry, very windy, and very prime for wildfire. So the Army, I'm going to hang around for your discussion because I saw on the agenda that you're going to be considering a letter relative to Ivy Mass. But as I look at this situation, I know that the Army informs you, but it seems to me that there should be more of a consultation and collaboration effort in terms of ensuring that that fire dangers are taken seriously and are addressed on a community-wide. I mean, this is a huge county, and it's a lot to stay on top of. And it requires the cooperation and participation of all citizens and all entities, including the Army. So I would just like you to consider calling the Army to be responsible for consulting, not just informing you immediately before exercises like Ivy Mass take place, but to engage with you early on in terms of proposed scheduled exercises that present fire dangers to all of us in Los Animas County, and to recognize and take seriously their responsibility to take care of the cultural resources that they have custody of. As I outlined, throughout history, 5 different flags have flown over this part of Colorado in its history. And, you know, nobody knows what the future holds, but those cultural assets are part of our heritage. And the Army, of course, I think recognizes, I hope they recognize that they have a responsibility to protect and to take care of those resources. That's pretty much what I had to say, just that I'm just urging you to be aware. I mean, I know you're aware, and I'm sure that you're probably more informed than I am about the conditions and risks posed by the conditions that are current. But my thought was that by presenting a unified front in collaboration with the Otero County Commissioners, there might be some leverage there to prevent this. I mean, I've done a lot of research into what the multi-domain task force doctrine. It is kind of the new approach that the military is taking to warfare. The most successful, I guess, from a military standpoint, example of that so far is what happened in Venezuela. Very efficient, very quick, and very absent of any human decision-making. AI was really orchestrating and executing that operation. That's, from a military perspective, probably a very successful use of this concept. Probably the worst example of it was the bombing of that girls' school in Iran, that killed 175 little girls because AI wasn't updated on the current status of that target. I just think it's really important that human beings take responsibility, which means being involved in the decision making. But that's kind of another issue that is important to me, but the immediate issue is the fire danger and the inclusion of local voices and local sensitivities and knowledge of the vulnerabilities that we are living with. And with that, I just want to express my support and my willingness to participate and assist in any efforts that you're making and in answering questions that you might have.
Mr. Albright, thank you so much for appearing before this board. I really appreciate your not only passion but concern. We alike, as a Board of County Commissioners, you're absolutely correct. We continue to work shoulder to shoulder with those agencies that are within our county, and as you previously heard, with the implementation of stage 2 of the fire restrictions, definitely that resolution will be passed on as they operate within our county, correct? So that information is going to be there, and we don't need to get into the geopolitical challenges of the international community, but nonetheless, thank you, I really appreciate that. And full disclosure, Mr. Holbrook was a faculty member, and so I can only imagine sitting in one of your academia, very interesting information. We thank you, and for the information that you submitted to us beforehand, it is, and also for the highlight of the letter that was already sent to Pinion Canyon. On behalf of this board, we're going to read that letter here in the next few minutes, so you'll see exactly where this board stands. But commissioners, I'm going to yield the floor, and definitely one more thing. As you know, the Fort Carson, they have combined meetings within the county. Every now and again, I'm not sure how often they hold these meetings, but they come. And those meetings are open to the public.
Yeah, I attended the
Very good, very good. So that is, and also their communications director, very open to taking comments, and I would imagine phone calls, but definitely I believe that this whole thing obviously is communication, and we will stand with the communication that has gone forward to them and continue to emphasize the importance of such. The commissioners, I'm going to yield the floor to you.
Thank you for being a huge advocate and looking out for us. You and Lori have been instrumental during the whole Pinion Canyon phase. You need to know that I'm at every meeting that they have, either virtual or in person. And I still have that concern and love for that area, just like you do. We're in a quandary right now, and we're in war. And those young men and women, you heard my prayer. I've got relatives over there, and we need to do what we can to train them also. They have that property, and I've always advocated, now that they have it, I don't want to justify the need of any expansion by not letting them use it. And some people say that they're using that as a threat, but if they can't use what they already have, I believe that we will justify the need if we tell them no. And I don't want to be that guy, and you know that. You know how hard I fought to keep Pinion Canyon from happening and the second expansion. But we're in a real quandary right now.
Yeah, and I agree with you that, I mean, one of the things that I thought about as I was feeling the gravity and the grandeur of all of the human souls that have survived on Pinyon Canyon was the tenure of those civilizations in that place. You know, sometimes it's hundreds of years, sometimes it's generations, as it was, you know, for the ranchers and the Pinyon Canyon expansion struggle. But one of the other thing I noticed is that every 2 years there's a new garrison commander. 2 years. You know, and that's the long-term engagement with that land and that place and that mission. Typically for the soldiers it's a few days.
So, and on that note, we've obviously, as we meet with them, the 2 years, we like to see somebody there for 20, right? But even the general, it's kind of the rotational process that takes place by attrition, rules, whatever they are. It does create a bit of a short span of time to get to know them.
You know, what would be kind of cool is if some of that $1 trillion defense budget could be used to have an office in Trinidad where somebody could field concerns and facilitate communication on issues like fire prevention and abatement in and around Pinyon Canyon on an ongoing basis. I mean, these, you know, meetings a couple times a year are good. And I really do mean that, because at the last meeting, there was a lot of back and forth. And I think it was constructive.
They do have quarterly, and I believe once in a while we've had attended some others, but they do meet quarterly, so.
Yeah. And they were very, I appreciate very much that they allowed us to come on to Pinyon Canyon to go up on the hogback and experience the equinox from that place. It was a very powerful, transformative experience for me to realize I was participating in something that people had been experiencing in the very, very same way for 10,000 years from that exact spot.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Holder, once again, this is a forum that's always open.
I appreciate
And
that.
thank you for being here today, and we extend once again that opportunity to communicate directly with the garrison commanders, whomever the person is. And I can tell you from where we stand, that what was extended at hand to Los Animas County, I recall the days when they used to meet at Trinidad State, and they would come, stop by my office, and they would ask, hey, can you tell me what's going on with Pinyon Canyon and Trinidad and Los Animas County? So this, and hopefully someday there will be a different chapter. But on behalf of this board, we want to thank you for being here today, and certainly appreciate your comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. On that note, now the next item is going to be public comment. Mr. Thorncamp, anyone online that wishes to address the board?
I see nothing in the chat.
And sir, anyone in the audience?
No one signed up.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate that. We're going to go to section 8, unfinished business. We have 8A, consideration of resolution 26-015, adopting an information technology policy. And I believe this item was laid on the table previously. Mr. Thorncamp, am I correct?
That's correct, Commissioner. I'd ask the board to move to item 9A. The IT policy that the board adopted a few meetings back, we made some modifications to the revised, amended IT policies in front of you as item 9A. So I ask the board to adopt this IT policy and then move back to the table
To remove from the table, okay.
And that way, the resolution's read, it's applied to this
Thank you,
information
sir.
IT policy.
Thank you. Understood. We're going to go to 9A, consideration of amended information technology policy. By the way, no council, you have the opportunity to read, and are there any legal concerns from your perspective?
No, there was just a minor change, no legal concerns.
Thank you, ma'am, I really appreciate that. So commissioners, this document, I want to extend once again sincere thanks to you, Finance Director, probably for working directly with the implementation of this document. It is very imperative that we have this cybersecurity and all of IT-related policies, very important to cover. So commissioners, any questions on this item? No questions? I am going to then entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the amended information technology policy.
I'll second.
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. So now we're going to go back to 8A, consideration of resolution 26015, adopting an information technology policy. This item has been laid on the table. I'll entertain a motion to remove from the table.
I'll move to remove from the table.
Second the motion.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes, so having removed that item from the table, Mr. Duran, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Los Animas County, Colorado, adopting Los Animas County Information Pre and IT Input and Controls Policy Procedure Handbook. Resolution number 26-015, whereas Los Animas County, Pre the county imprint, relies upon information technology systems, electronic data, and network infrastructure to conduct county operations, provide public services, and safeguard financial and confidential information, whereas the Board of County Commissioners, print BOCC imprint, has the authority and responsibility to establish policies to ensure proper governance, internal controls, risk management, and cybersecurity protections for county operations, whereas the county recognizes the increasing risks associated with cybersecurity threats, unauthorized access, data breaches, system failures, and regulatory compliance requirements, whereas the county has developed an information technology IT controls policy and procedure handbook effective April 7, 2026, establishes standards for governance and control, governance and management controls, access controls, segregation of duties, data backup and disaster recovery, production, migration controls, network security and cybersecurity, asset management, IT strategy planning, and risk management, protection of personally identifiable information, PII, enforcement and disciplinary procedures, and whereas the adoption of this policy promotes accountability, data protection, operational continuity, and compliance with applicable federal and state of Colorado laws. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Los Animas County, Colorado, that the Board of County Commissioners of Los Animas County hereby, 1, adopts the Los Animas County Information Technology IT Controls Policy and Procedure Handbook dated April 7, 2026. 2, directs all elected officials, department heads, employees, contractors, and authorized users of county information systems to comply with the provisions of this policy, of the policy. 3, authorizes the county's IT department and administration to implement procedures necessary to carry out the intent of the policy. 4, requires that the policy be reviewed at least annually and updated as necessary to address operational, technological, and legal changes. 5, provides that failure to comply with the policy may result in disciplinary action consistent with county personnel policies and applicable law. On motion made second, affirmative vote, this resolution was adopted on the 7th day of April 2026 by order of the Board of County Commissioners of Los Angeles County, Colorado, followed by your signature lines.
Thank you, Mr. Duran. Commissioners, any questions on this resolution? Hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion.
Move to approve resolution 26015, adopting information technology policy.
Second.
Commissioner Sarah?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes. We'll go back to 9B, consideration of resolution 26019, Community Corrections Board. Mr. Duran.
Commissioner, before you for your consideration is resolution 26019, developing a community corrections board.
And I know this resolution was drafted with legal eyes and perspective. Council, any questions, concerns on this? Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Commissioners, any questions on this resolution? Well, I just, one of this Community Correction Board, someplace in there, Mr. Durham, help me find it, where, how is this board's makeup?
It consists,
Page 2, yes. Go ahead.
Commissioner.
Yes, Mr. Durham, the Corrections Board shall be comprised of 5 members, and said membership shall include the following mandated positions for public officials and officers who serve in the 3rd Judicial District. The Judicial District, 2 representatives, 1 member from the Board of County Commissioners from Los Animas County, 1 member of the board from the County Commissioners, and the Chief Probation Officer to the 3rd Judicial District. Commissioners, any questions, any additional conversation on this item? Hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion.
Commissioner,
Sir,
we need to read the resolution.
please, 17 pages, get a drink of water, sir.
Just assume not, but
No, please do.
Los Angeles County Resolution Number 26-019 and Portland County's Resolution Number 2650. The joint resolution reaffirming the establishment of the Community Corrections Board of the 3rd Judicial District, whereas the undersigned as the County Commissioners of Counties within the 3rd Judicial District of Colorado, print the signatory boards imprint, acting for and on behalf of their respective counties, mutually agree that it is in the best interest of the citizens of said district to establish a Community Corrections Board of the 3rd Judicial District, print Corrections Board imprint, to achieve the following purposes: to 1, to broaden the source of authority from which said Community Corrections Board derives its powers to act through the enactment of this joint resolution by the counties represented by the signatory boards, rather than by the actions of one county board in the district. To more fully define, delineate, and clarify the powers and duties of the Community Corrections Board as a program resource servicing the 3rd Judicial District. 3, to address certain situations which will promote communication, cooperation, and administration between the County Corrections Board and the signatory boards which have adopted this resolution. And whereas in conformance with Title 17, Article 27 of the Colorado Revised Statute, Los Angeles County Board of County Commissioners took action by adoption of Resolution 0430, creating the Los Angeles County Community Corrections Board, and whereas Portland County Board of County Commissioners established the Portland County Community Corrections Board by adoption of Resolution 90-6, and whereas the Chief Judge of the 3rd Judicial District has requested that the administration of financial accounts for the respective Community Corrections Board of Los Angeles and Portland counties to be under a single point of management, and whereas in order to comply with the request of the Chief Judge of the 3rd Judicial District to consolidate administration of funding for the operation of the respective Community Corrections Board of the 2 counties comprising the 3rd Judicial District, a joint resolution establishing the 3rd Judicial District Community Corrections Board needs to be adopted, and whereas the undersigned commissioners acting for the respective counties adopt these joint resolutions with the further understanding that the Corrections Board established herein shall be the successor in right, title, and interest of the Los Angeles County Community Corrections Board and Portland County Community Corrections Boards as stated above, and that all contracts to which the boards are party at the effective date of this joint resolution shall continue to be in full force and effect and shall be assumed by the 3rd Judicial District Community Corrections Board established by this resolution, and should not be invalidated by the dissolutions of the Los Angeles County Community Corrections Board and the Portland County Community Corrections Board. Now therefore be resolved that the signatory boards of commissioners within the 3rd Judicial District of Colorado, which have adopted and executed this joint resolution acting jointly, we hereby establish the 3rd Judicial District Community Corrections Board, wherein the Board or Corrections Board implement as a functioning board with the intention that in every respect and said Corrections Board shall be the successor in right, title, and interest of Los Angeles County Community Corrections Board and Portland County Community Corrections Boards, and unless otherwise stated here, the signatory boards do hereby delegate to the Corrections Board established hereby any and all powers authorized pursuant to CRS 17-27-103 as amended, necessary to accomplish the purposes of Article 27, Title 17 of the Colorado Revised Statutes as amended. The said corrections board shall be organized and established as follows: to wit, 1, the corrections board shall be comprised of 5 members. The said membership shall include the following mandated positions for public officials and officers who serve in the 3rd Judicial District: 2, A, the district judges of the 3rd Judicial District, assume 2 of them. B, 1 member of the Board of County Commissioners of Los Animas County. C, 1 member of the Board of County Commissioners of Portland County. D, the chief probationary officer of the 3rd Judicial District. The members of the corrections board who serve in the above identified elected or appointed positions at the time of this joint resolution adopted shall serve until his or her successor is duly elected, appointed, or designated. The chief judge of the 3rd Judicial District shall appoint the chief probation officer position, who shall serve until a successor is appointed. Los Animas County Board of County Commissioners shall appoint the Los Animas County Commissioner to serve on the Corrections Board. Portland County Board of County Commissioners will appoint the Portland County Commissioner to serve on the Corrections Board. 2, the establishment of any community corrections facility or program within a given county shall be subject to the approval of the county commissioners of that county, as well as to the approval of the governing body of the city or town in which a proposed facility or the seat of their program is to be located. In this regard, commissioners shall consult with the corrections board as provided by law. 3, no signatory board shall be required to fund any aspect of the operations of the corrections board. 4, upon dissolution, the corrections board, signatory boards shall retain the power to dispose of any property and equipment acquired by said corrections board, subject only to the conditions thereon, which may have been created by the receipt and acceptance of grant funds or operating funds from the United States of America, the state of Colorado, or any private foundation. Upon dissolution, the corrections board holds any funds received from the state of Colorado for any purpose. The said funds shall be distributed as required by the state of Colorado, and the signatory board shall have no authority to distribute said funds in any other way. 5, to the extent in that joint action, including any decision to amend or repeal this joint resolution or dissolve the corrections board established hereby, imprint, is required by the signatory boards under the terms of this joint resolution, said action shall be considered adopted and enforceable if it has been approved by affirmative vote of both signatory boards, with each such board having 1 vote. Be it further resolved that except for the powers and duties expressly reserved to the signatory boards as stated above, the signatory boards hereby delegate to the corrections board any and all powers necessary to accomplish the purposes of Article 27, Title 17 of the Colorado Revised Statutes as amended, whether established by statute or otherwise. Further, without intending to limit the powers and authority of the corrections board, the commissioners expressly delegate the following powers to the corrections board to wit: 1, full authority to adopt, modify, and repeal bylaws concerning officers, meetings, committees, procedural rules, and all the provisions necessary for the organization and operation of the corrections board. 2, full authority to accept, reject, and reject. Full authority to accept, reject, or reject after acceptance the placement of any offender in any community correction facility or program established in the 3rd Judicial District, as more specifically approved by Article 27 of Title 17 of CRS as amended. 3, the corrections board shall have authority to enter into contracts to allow the placement of individuals from the 3rd Judicial District into community correction program. The board shall act as agents of the signatory boards in executing these contracts. 4, it is believed that the corrections board is immune from liability under the governmental immunity laws of the state of Colorado. However, as protection, if the event of any determination is that it is not so immune, the corrections board shall obtain insurance coverage funded by the state of Colorado for comprehensive public liability, including civil rights, and for the director's liability of such coverage shall conform to the provisions of CRS 2410-114 as presently enacted or hereby or hereafter amended. The corrections board established hereby shall be entitled to own, possess, and use all assets of, and shall assume any and or all outstanding unpaid debts and liability of Los Animas County Community Corrections Board and Warfield County Community Corrections Board. When entering into any contract with any non-governmental agency, corrections board shall require that the contractor shall agree to assume risk of all liabilities, including death resulting therefrom, to person and damage to, destruction of property, including loss of use therefrom, caused by or sustained in whole or in part in connection with or arising out of said contracts, or caused or sustained in whole or in part because of the actions of omissions of the contractors, its agents, or employees, or any offender assigned or sentenced to or held by contract with any community correctional facility or program, regardless of its location, arising from any violation of any state statute, ordinance, or regulation by the contractor, its agents, or employees, or any offender under its control, and the contractor must further agree to indemnify and save harmless the Third Judicial District Community Corrections Board and Signatory Board, and the courts of the Third Judicial District, their officer, agents, and employees of said entities from and against any and all liability arising from actions or omissions under the terms of said contracts. We have further resolved that the effective date of this joint resolution shall be on the date the last signatory board adopts this joint resolution. Upon motion made and second affirmative vote, this resolution was adopted the 7th day of April 2026. By order of the Board of County Commissioners of Los Animas County, followed by your signature lines.
We should have tag teamed that one.
Yes.
AI. Commissioners, any questions on that resolution? Here and now, I'm going to entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution 26019, Community Corrections Board.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. I was going to ask you to reread it, but
Tomorrow.
9C, consideration of festival permit for the Royal Tavern LLC. Council,
I reviewed the application and agrees to be complete.
thank you. I don't know if you have anyone from the clerk's office that would have any additional comments, but having heard counsel that the application is complete. Thank you. Commissioners, any questions on this application? I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve the festival permit for the Royal Tavern LLC.
Second.
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. Thank you. 9D, consideration of retail liquor license renewal application for Buckhorn Ridge Outfitter LLC DBA Monument Lake Resort. Council, back to you, ma'am.
I reviewed it and agrees to be complete.
Thank you, ma'am. The same question to our clerk and recorder.
No concerns.
Thank you, ma'am. I really appreciate that. Commissioners, any question on this application? Here and now, I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve retail liquor license renewal application for Buckhorn Ridge Outfitters LLC, known as Monument Lake Resort.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. 9E, consideration of OBCC number 7049 to Clayton Darrell Mackey for $936.14. We have a document attached to this request, Commissioners, from clerk and recorder, explaining what happened. It is a straightforward refund. Deputy Clerk, would you like to provide some additional information? Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning. So yes, the customer came in on the 16th, and we are asking for a credit for him. He was, he's a 100% disabled veteran, and he did not make that knowledgeable to the deputy clerk that was assisting him. So later that week, his wife came in and asked if we can credit him, and we did so, because we were able to do it. It was a lot of fun with the new system that we have now, so we We were playing around a lot, but we got it done. We completed it, and we were able to assist him on that credit with a couple of vehicles that he had. He had, well, one vehicle and one trailer. He had just bought a 2025, so that was nice. And then we were able to give him his free plates as a disabled vet for his 2026 Dodge Ram that I believe he bought.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I just didn't know if you guys have any concerns with it or any of the paperwork that you guys see. I know it was a lot.
Well, thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Okay, thank you for being here. Commissioners, then I'm going to entertain a motion.
Move to approve OBCC number 7049 to Clayton Darrell Mackey for $936.14.
Second.
Commissioner Sarah,
Yes.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes, thank you. We're going to go to our 9F, consideration of an emergency management MOU with Primero School. Emergency manager, would you like to highlight any points on this document?
Good morning again. Yeah, it's pretty much the same as what we did with, I believe it was Kim. And I think I have another one on there for Honey, and they're all very similar. Just the appendixes are a little different as far as what it is and what they're allowed to use and stuff like that. But other than that, they're exactly the same.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kalikowski. Commissioners, any other discussion on this item? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve emergency management MOU with Monroe School.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Sarah,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. 9F, consideration of IFP 26 R002 dust control supply and apply. Mr. Dorenkamp or
Commissioners, we'll have,
good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. The IFB is for the dust control for the county roads that we normally do twice a year.
Thank you. Thank you.
and if I may add, Commissioners, only one company submitted a bid, that'd be on Enviro Tech Services in the amount of $230,917.26. And as Road Bridge Supervisor Woodring, you referred to, we typically apply, the Road Bridge Department typically applies fluoride dust control twice a year, usually in the springtime, and then again just before school, right after school starts. And we had budgeted $245,000 for this project, so it came in really in budget. So that's the board to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Woodring.
Is this stuff biodegradable? So when it rains and it ends up?
It is environmentally safe.
Good.
Yes.
Because we know this is sometimes it seems danged if you do and danged if you don't type situation.
That's
Some
correct.
people are happy with it and some aren't, but it does keep that dust down especially.
And I think it reduces the maintenance of
Yes,
this.
it also reduces the maintenance. Those roads usually don't get hit with graders and maintenance very often now.
Good. Do you let people know when you're gonna put it down ahead of time so they don't get this on their brand new paint job on the computer?
We do, we send it out on Facebook, and then preparation, usually we start a couple weeks prior to get the roads ready, and so most people see us coming, but the day we start putting it down, the phones ring, and a couple days later, they're happy. So it's, like you said, it's, as soon as it dries up, it starts working really well for them, but they just don't like it when it is a
That's
block.
right. Thanks for notifying.
Yes,
It's on record now, so.
yes.
Thank you. And since, how many miles do you usually cover? It doesn't have to be exact.
I think we're up to 28 now.
Yeah, as I say, we're close to the 30-mile range,
Okay, 30.
yes.
Well, thank you. I know we have a lot of requests from several of the county residents, especially with the drought that's going on. So, thank you, Mr. Woodring. Commissioners, any other questions? Hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion.
Move to approve the IFD 26R002, dust control supply and apply.
Second it?
Commissioner Searle,
Yes.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. 9H, consideration of Fort Carson Ivy Mass training letter of concern. Mr. Durenkamp, for the record, would you please read that letter?
I got my second win. On March 27, 2026, Fort Carson MEPA Program Manager, Directorate of Public Works Environmental Division, in AMIM-CRP-E, imprint, 1626 Evans Street, Building 1219, Fort Carson, Colorado, 80913, submitted via email to your email address. Regarding comments on the Ivy Mass Training Environmental Assessment, dear Fort Carson MEPA team, Los Animas County's Board of County Commissioners appreciates the opportunity to review and comment on the environmental assessment, EA imprint, and draft finding of no significant impact, FNSI imprint for the proposed one-time brigade level combined arms live fire exercise, CALFAX imprint, known as Ivy Mass 2026, scheduled for May 2026 at Pinyon Canyon Maneuver Site, PCMS imprint. We recognize the critical importance of realistic military training to maintain the readiness of our nation's armed forces. Los Animas County has long supported U.S. Armies and other military branches use of PCMS for training activities. However, we have concerns regarding Ivy Mass that include the introduction of 155 millimeter artillery with spotted charges print up to 0.5 pounds TNT equivalent imprint in a temporary impact area print TIA imprint, given current and forecasted weather conditions for PCMS, some follow. Wildfire risk. The vegetation print includes shortgrass, pinon, juniper, shrubs, etc. imprint. Yet PCMS is extremely dry, following below average winter precipitation. The use of live propellant charges and spotting munitions increase the risk of a wildfire that could impact adjacent private properties. Such an event could devastate livestock operation, raising forage, and ranch infrastructure. Although Fort Carson's environmental assessment for this training commits to modifying or suspending training during periods of extreme fire danger, we urge Fort Carson to reconsider the extreme activator and commit to immediate suspension of live fire activities in the if the fire danger reaches very high or above. We also request confirmation that adequate on-site firefighting resources will be in place in accordance with PCMS's fire management plan. Cultural and historic resources. The EE acknowledges that the proposed action contributes incrementally to the adverse cumulative effects of several sites, resulting in an adverse effect to some of those that lie within a TIA and overlapping SDZs. The county remains concerned about these incremental cumulative degradation of these irreplaceable historic sites and asks Fort Carson to complete a thorough analysis and implement responsive measures to minimize these effects. Soil vegetation and post-training rehabilitation. The soils of PCMS are highly susceptible to compaction, rutting, and erosion from vehicle maneuvers and munitions impacts. We support the commitment to land rehabilitation management, LRAM imprint, and integrated training area management, ITAM imprint, activities following actions, and request that these activities be completed as soon as possible post-training. A delay in rehabilitation could affect adjacent private lands through increased dust, invasive vegetative species, erosion and/or runoff, which should affect water sources and stores. The Board of County Commission recommends that the Army consider additional mitigation measures or, in conditions of war, explore alternatives that maintain training value while minimizing risk of potential wildfires, negative impacts to unique historic structures, and private property damage, all within Los Angeles County. Updates on training schedules and any airspace restrictions are also requested. Thank you for your attention to these matters and for your continued stewardship of the Pinyon Canyon Maneuver Site. We remain committed to constructive dialogue and are available to meet with Fort Carson representatives to discuss these issues in greater detail if necessary. Sincerely, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, Mr. Dorncamp. And you have received that this letter was submitted on March 27th. They have acknowledged receipt of this document.
They have acknowledged receipt via email that they received the document, yes.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners? Hearing no additional questions, I'm going to entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the Fort Carson Animas training letter of concern.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Searle?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes. 9I, consideration of Jaffa Opera House Congressional Direct Spending Letter of Support. Mr. Dorncamp.
Commissioners, the folks at the Jaffa Opera House have asked the Board of County Commissioners to submit a letter of support to Representative Hurd for, in the past was called Congressional Direct Spending,
Yes.
I believe it was called, and they changed it up a bit. Now it's community program funding, I believe is what it's called, but either direction, they've asked for a letter of support. That's what's in front of them.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for pending this document. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Dorncamp?
No.
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve the Jaffa Opera House Congressional Direct Spending Letter of Support.
Second.
Commissioner Searle?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes. 9J, consideration of the Town of Aguilar's Congressional Direct Spending Letter of Support. Mr. Dorncamp, back to you, sir.
Commissioner, similar with Jaffa Opera House, Town of Aguilar asked the board to pin a letter of support for their water infrastructure project.
Thank you once again, Mr. Dorncamp. Commissioners, any questions on this letter? Hearing no questions, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the Town of Aguilar's Congressional Direct Spending Letter of Support.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Searle?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes. 9K, consideration of Prairie Stokes Airport Defense Community Infrastructure Program, letter of support request from Fort Carson. Mr. Dorncamp.
Commissioner, before you for your consideration is a letter of request for a letter of support from Fort Carson Command, similar to what the board did last year for, the acronym is the DSIP grant funding, fixed base operator, Pinnacle Jet owner, Evan Otto is getting way ahead of the 8 ball on this, which is a good thing. We want to have all our documents in order, so when this funding opportunity opens, we're there.
Thank you.
And the total request will be $4,497,850 when that grant opportunity opens for some improvements out of the airport.
Commissioners, any discussion on this item? I'm going to entertain a motion.
Move to approve the Prairie Stokes Airport Defense Community Infrastructure Program Letter of Support request from Fort Carson.
Second.
Commissioner Searle?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes. 9L, consideration of the emergency manager's MOU, emergency management MOU with Holy School District. Once again, I believe emergency manager is pretty much standard document. The commissioners, there was also the appendix A attached to that document. Do we have any questions for emergency manager Kalkowski? Hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion.
Move to approve the emergency management MOU with Holy School District.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Searle?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes. 9M, consideration of OBCC number 7050, a cancellation of a 30-year-old county held liens for $242,213 and 54, and we have Treasurer Martinez in the house, so.
Good morning.
I just want to get a little bit about, let's wake up, right?
How are you?
Good morning,
So this morning, I brought all these county held liens that are 30 years plus. So the county has held them, most of them for like 34 years. And per state statute, at the end of 30 years, they're expired. So I bring it to you guys to approve that so that we can put those accounts back onto the tax roll so that we can assess them again, and hopefully if they don't sell, another investor will come and pick it up and it won't get struck out to the county. But as it stands now, they just have sat there since 1990, most of them.
All the properties do exist still?
They do still exist.
Is there only one certificate on each property?
Yes, these are all county held, so there's
So they
no,
were never sold yet?
they were never, no, because at the time when they were struck off to the county, once they're a county held, they don't go back up. The only time is if there was an investor first, and then the investor didn't want it, say, the second year or fourth year,
And they don't come in and endorse?
and they don't come in and endorse, then it gets sold again, and if it doesn't sell, then it gets struck off to the county. But no, these are all county held liens. And I put them into sections as what is the real estate, minerals, and we had 2 mobile homes. And the mobile homes now, even if they do exist, they're not gonna get assessed because they're under the 28,000 limit of valuation that they assess on. So they're not gonna get any new tax bill on the mobile homes. And hopefully on the minerals, once we put those back, we can find the surface owners, give them first rights. If they don't want them, then it'll go back up to tax sale. Hopefully then somebody else, another investor will pick them up at tax sale.
Well, I do recognize some of the names on here, and
When you were working?
those people, they bought through the tax sale in the first place.
Oh, so they were originally
Yeah. Yeah,
investors.
so they were originally bought through
And some of this property, like those of, Evelyn Soares, maybe it's land where it's not even buildable. And that's why those investors that come, if they do their research, they probably look to see where the property is located, but some of them come, they don't know, they're just bidding, and they don't really realize what they're getting.
I used to run into, once in a while, they buy a property at the tax sale, well, the next year, the taxes go up. So
Yeah.
they don't come.
So then they don't.
Because it's not worth it.
Right.
If the taxes go up.
Yeah, so then they let it go and hopefully somebody else will get it. But then they're still gonna lose out their money because if that junior investor, when that junior investor applies, they don't have to redeem out the senior investor. So cut your loss, I guess, after the first year as opposed to waiting 7 or 8 or 15 years that they have to hold the certificate, and then those get counted among the investors. And we do have a House bill that's up at legislation. Hopefully they change the statute on this 30 years. They want to reduce it down to 5 years, which would be a benefit, because then after the 5th year, then we don't have to wait 30 years of accumulating all the taxes and interest on these accounts. If they do adopt that new House bill. But we'll have to see till we get through the treasurer's legislation on all that treasure cleanup bill.
What is the current conversation with the Treasurers Association? Are they in support of this?
Yes, they are, because they feel like the 30 years is just way too long. And how many counties can afford to really pick up property and then try to sell it, because they still have to go through the same process of applying for the deed. We have to advertise it, we have to have the second auction, and then the best would be to quiet title it instead of waiting your 7 years of holding on to the certificate, once you get that, because you can't deed it to somebody until you have the warranty deed, so. It's a process, and I don't think many of the counties can afford that.
On these properties, the county never did hold the tax deed, is my terminology correct? So the county never was the owner of the property?
They're not the owner of the property, they just are county held lien holders.
So how would the county, if the county had an interest in owning those properties to develop, I don't know, wildlife areas?
Well, any county held liens that the county holds, they still would have to apply for the deed to those properties.
The county,
yes.
within a certain time frame?
After the first year, after the fourth year, sorry,
Or you-
yes. Then the county can apply for a deed on any of the county held properties, but they never did, so. And the assessor still has to tax them annually. And most of these, it's between the interest and taxes that end up just,
So if a private property, or excuse me, if a private person who buys these through succeeding tax sale, I believe is what you call it,
yes,
the taxes that had been owed on those properties are lifetime?
no, so even if there, we have a county held property, say one of these properties, and there was an individual that says, oh, I want to take a look at this, and we assign the certificate to them, they're gonna pay all that amount of taxes that are owed. Say there's one for $10,000. He's gonna pay that $10,000. He then can apply for the deed immediately because because all those years that it was a county held lien, he just now paid him now that we assigned him the certificate. But he goes through the same process. Then he applies for a deed, then we have to send out our letters, then we have the second auction, which at that time, anybody else can come and bid
Okay.
on that property.
Please indulge me. Sometimes I'm as dense as a post. So these are gonna be struck off.
These here are gonna be struck off.
Once they're struck off,
We're gonna put them back on to the tax roll up for collection of taxes. They don't get paid in December when we hold our,
collection of taxes from who?
from the
current listed owners.
From the current list, the current owners.
Once-
If they don't pay the taxes now,
Once they're struck off, the current owner of the property
it's still the owner.
is not obligated to pay all those back taxes.
No,
Okay.
no. So if they don't pay those taxes now by December 1st when we have our tax sale, we're gonna put those back up to tax sale, and then hopefully the investors that come that day will,
And then they'll only have, the investors will only have that 1 year's worth of back taxes to pay in order to. Okay.
right, and then they'll go forward.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, so these, as they stand here, is to wipe them all out. The certificates are void.
Basically, we just start from.
You start new. Right.
I think Mr. Camp was alluding to that he's been looking to build a county-owned park. If there's enough acres.
Our road and bridge departments, they're not busy enough, so.
Send some guys up there.
Thank you, Treasurer Martinez.
Sure.
Any additional questions on these items?
So I'm as dense as a railroad tax, so we absorb that loss then, our districts would absorb that loss.
Yes, and they've been absorbing it all these years that they remain unpaid.
And-
Yeah.
And they're okay with that. No, thank you.
Statutorily,
Let that turn it, I get it.
and what Treasurer Martinez is saying statutorily, they have no
Statutorily.
choice. It's going,
For third, yeah, for
It has to
30
happen.
years.
Okay.
And then just wait and wait and wait till the 30 years, and then I think a few years back when Donna was treasurer, she bought some, and there was an account that had years and years of taxes, and then we wiped them clean, and then the heirs of that property, they're like, oh, then what happened to all the other taxes that we owed? Now they're current, they pay them currently.
Yeah.
But back then, for whatever reason, their parents didn't pay them. Now, the children are paying them, which is good, but yeah, all those years are
Absorb, yeah.
absorbed.
It's a good process to get forgiveness if you're really paying attention to what's happening in the listings.
Yeah, but which, like I said, 30 years, like I said, most of them are 34 years, 35 years. If we keep waiting, nobody's done anything. And I don't know that anybody is interested in coming and acquiring those and say, hey, assign me the certificate.
That's a true definition of hold harmless for 30 years.
I'm just thinking of a certain development that sits east of town.
Mhm.
Very good. Any additional questions for Treasurer Martinez? Hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion.
Move move to approve the OBCC number 7050, the cancellation of 30 county held liens for $242,213.54.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Searle? Commissioner Hess?
We have
Yes.
one more item.
Yep, right.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
9N, consideration of public trustee first quarter report. Back to you, Treasurer Martinez.
Those are fees and costs that we have acquired now for the first 3 months of 2026 public trustee fees through releases and foreclosures. And I've turned one into the state already on my part for the 3 months. So we made $6,113.49 through public trustee fees.
Are you seeing an increase in foreclosures now with the economy the way it is?
Right now I'm at 7, and I have 2 new ones to start. I think last year around this time, we were maybe at 5, so it's hit and miss. We'll see how the future months go.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably see an increase. We had 37 at the end of 25 total, so hopefully we don't surpass that, but with the economy, it may be.
Yeah.
Any additional questions for Trustee Martinez? Hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion.
I move to approve the public trustees first quarter report.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Searle?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Thank you.
I know, consider,
I cleared the room, Sarah.
Sarah was in the house.
All of those.
9O, consideration of IFP 26C002, paint and patch courthouse 34th floor, Mr. Cronkite.
Commissioners, we solicited bids for painting and patching 3rd and 4th floors under IFB 26-C002. Following results, HTH was $62,239. Colorado Best, $48,670. Final Vision, $40,942. It's part of our bid requirements. The submitters were supposed to complete our bid sheet that was part of the packet, the bid documents, and neither Colorado Best or Final Vision did that, and also Colorado Best was 6 minutes late. Our deadline was 10 a.m. and their email that included their bid was 10:06 a.m. And so it's my opinion, of course, the board has the final decision on this, that the 2 bids or the bids from Colorado Best and Final Vision were not compliant with our bid documents, and therefore I ask the board to award this project to HTH for $62,239. We budgeted $60,000, $30,000 we had underfunded grant monies and $30,000 from county funds. So
So the underfunded just about covers the whole thing for a couple of $1,000.
a couple of thousand more. And we'll discuss with that contractor about perhaps bringing it within budget.
And then that was going to be my question, if there was any opportunity to go back and have a conversation with them. And and this, the patch and paint, and by the way, thank you, this building is looking fantastic. The communication with the representatives of the 3rd and 4th floor, I'm sure they will set up the communication and work with the contractor and for you to achieve this on a timely manner. So since the dollars have been appropriated. I don't have any other questions, commissioners. I will then entertain a motion.
Move to approve IFB 26C002, Peyton Patch Courthouse, third and fourth floors.
Second
Commissioner Searle? Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes. 9P, consideration of Los Angeles County and Pinnacle Jet Center Agreement Amendment 1. Mr. Dorncamp.
Commissioners, our original agreement with Pinnacle Jet, our FBO operator out at the airport, was that the trigger to cause them to start paying rent was to be when our parking lot out there north of the terminal was paid. We had decided over the year and a half to move those funds to other more important projects out there at the airport. So to anticipate when we were gonna pay that parking lot to kind of match up with those rentals, that rental, then FBO owner Evan Otto suggested that we just set a time frame, a deadline of July 1, 2026 is when those rentals will be started paid, and that is what is in front of you.
I would think that this lies right with the initial conversation and agreement, council.
Yes, Mr. Dorncamp did a great job on this. I reviewed, I have no legal concern.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioners, any questions? If there are no questions, I'm going to entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve Los Angeles County and Pinnacle Jet Center's agreement amendment.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Searle?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes. And who else is in the house? Oh, by the way, financial matters. Consideration of payroll and bills for the second half of March 2026. Finance Director Coverly.
Payroll as of March 31st, 2026, $234,649.39. Do you have any questions on payroll?
No questions.
The invoices paid on March 18th, 2026, $420,409.79. That's what I brought to your attention. Spartan Aviation annual dues for runway stats is $3,000. We will have a grant that will refund us $2,700 from the state of Colorado on that. And then, let's see, Wagner, that $133,114.26 is repairs for road equipment. Did I miss anything that you might have questions on?
I think so. Commissioners?
The $133,000 for repaired road equipment, what is that?
I think it's just different road equipment, I think that they have repaired through Wagner.
Yeah, there was an engine put in one of the motor graders, and when I talked to Roadway Supervisor Woodring, he said that after talking with Wagner, looking at used motor graders, that it made more sense to go ahead and change out that engine, which was around $80,000, because they put a transmission in that same motor grader. The structure of the motor grader is still fairly tight, so it's not too loose, and so they decided to go ahead and make the investment of a new engine. And I believe there was also either a transmission or an engine put in a backhoe. I don't have the right for it, but I can.
Yes, that's for $44,000.
And to Travis J. Simmons, what,
I think is he welding? No?
I'm sorry?
Travis J. Simmons, what does Travis?
TJ that works out of Kimmer.
who's the contractor?
Yeah, it's contractual. What does Travis, I'm saying, what does he do? Travis, let's see.
Runs a maintainer, I think.
Travis Simmons, yeah, he's the contracted motor grader operator out in McKim area.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying, so, yeah.
2555. Any questions, any additional questions for Finance Director Corbett? None, I'm going to entertain a motion.
Move to approve payroll and bills for the second half of March 2026.
Second.
Commissioner Searle? Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes. We come to section 11, executive session. The Board of County Commissioners will meet under CRS 246424B, confirm with the county attorney for purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions. A, fees/dues. So Commissioners, I am going to entertain a motion to suspend the regular Board of County Commissioners and enter into executive session.
So moved.
Second motion.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Searle?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes, with a 10-minute recess.